Ooh, let's try it again. How are you doing today? Excellent. I'm glad. My name is David Vella, and I want to welcome you to today's screening of Rosanne Pel's Light as Feathers. To begin, we want to acknowledge that today's event is taking place on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. We are extremely grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community. This film is eligible for the Gross People's Choice Award, so if you like it, please remember to vote. You can do that by going online and going to tiff.net/vote. You can vote as many times as you want, so please do that. We want to also thank Wide for providing us with this film. Thank you to iFilm International for their generous support. They're very generous to us throughout the year. This is a powerful debut for Rosanne Pel. We went looking for strong stories by and about women, and this is one that you will find quite haunting, mainly because of its main lead actor, who clumsily navigates his way in his female-dominated world. It's tough to watch, and there's an important dialogue to have around the situation in this film. This is the second screening. The first one went really well. We are very lucky that the filmmaker is still in town, so please join me on the stage, our filmmaker, Rosanne Pel.
Hello. Yeah, I actually just want to do a few words because I think it's important that we shape a little bit the context of this project. And this is because it's quite unusual that a fiction film is made with such a small crew. We were actually just with 4 people shooting this film on 16mm. And actually all of the heads of this film are female. And I think this is actually incredible. Yay! Yeah, wait till you see the film. Yeah, you will see actually maybe a quite tough film, but we did it actually with all the sensitivity we could find. And I think we also made it because we think this is a very relevant topic and that we should also narrate it from another side that we usually see in film. And so I hope also that everyone will just stay in the room and that we lock the door so you can also not go out. I'm very proud also that Eric is here. Maybe the producer will also come for the Q&A, so we will be the 3 of us here. I'm super proud at the film. I'm super proud of Eric because he did such a brave job actually of this, and actually all the actors. But I think he also needs like really an applause for this. And okay, thank you. I will let you to the film.
We'll see you at the Q&A. So let's bring back to the stage the filmmaker, Rosanne Pel.
Thank you.
Did you want to bring anyone else up?
Yeah, this too. The producer and Eric. And the producer's name is Floor Ombers, sorry.
Hello.
What did you guys think of the lead? Right? All right, we have a little time for Q&A. I'm going to start with a few questions, and I'll come out to you in the audience. If you have one, put your hand up. Try and be succinct. And if you could stand maybe and speak loudly so everyone could hear, that would be great. I'm going to start with you, Rosanne. If you can, you not only directed the film, but you wrote the film as well, the screenplay. And you developed the film in a very non-traditional way. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about that.
Well, I actually started this film in my master program of the Film Academy, and this was my research topic. And I decided that I wanted to make a film with other people, so not be only the director, but also really give voice to people who have also something to say and have like lots of ideas about how we would shape certain scenes. So we actually shot the film over 3 years. So you see different parts of Eric's life. And I also, because it is really fiction, but they play kind of versions of themselves. So lots of the scenes in the film are also a bit of Eric's life and what he was doing at times. So we shot over 5 periods. and every period I thought, okay, no, we should adapt the screenplay. So I throw everything overboard again, and we were writing it again together also, kind of. And also the dialogue, they are not scripted. They are really kind of improvising, which doesn't mean we were just doing something, but actually we were really searching for how people would behave. So Eric was also trying to make actually something difficult to place himself in someone who's not necessarily him, of course. So we were always talking about Eric and film Eric, because he has his name, of course, in the film, but yeah. Like this.
How was that for you, Eric? Not the improvisation, but just that trying to be yourself on film.
Actually, the good thing is that I had the possibility to express myself. Yeah? It was very nice because Rosanne, the director, when we are talking about the scene before we shoot it, it was like, okay, so now you have to do, I don't know, for example, shopping or groceries, some kind of stuff. And it was a story behind it. And she had really specific emotions, like instructions about emotions for me to express, you know, and it was kind of nice because it was out of her hands during the shooting, you know, and then we are translating every single scene, like after we shoot it. And if it was okay, then it was okay.
It's really strange because we were shooting on 16mm film, but we did everything actually just 1 or 2 takes. And if it didn't work, I thought, okay, now we should get rid of the scene actually, because then it's just too far away of what we can imagine actually. And of course, there were some scenes which we were pushing more, like, no, we have to try it because it's so important of the story that we do it. But like this.
There's a family story as well, and your grandmother is the real grandmother there.
Also, great grandmother is my.
Was one of the.
Yeah.
Oh, which one was your great grandmother?
Actually, there are 4 generations in this house actually, and because we wanted Stasia, that's the lady with the white hair, we wanted also her to be in the film, but then we found out that she could actually not remember anything but spitting poems at us, and then we said, okay, you will just go there, grandma, and come on with these poems, and then we saw like, will it make sense in the film? And actually, in a way, it did, I think.
Oh, that's wonderful. Rosanne, you mentioned a little bit in the intro how you worked with Eric and Claudia in particular on some of those more delicate scenes. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I also really would like Eric to say something of this, because of course we were dealing with children at that time. I think Eric was 15, Claudia was maybe 14 or a little. No, 14 she was. And I think what we tried to do was all the time create lots of safety, and also to express all the time the borders of what we wanted to do and what we didn't want to do. And I think for some reason this was so important to this whole film, to really learn to say to each other, no, this not, this I'm okay with. So I try to kind of educate in the sense of that they should be responsible for what they say and what they want and not want. And then we had like really just 3 women actually on the set, and Eric and the actors and the directing assistant then. And then I also found that we should not have too much body contact, and actually there is almost no body contact in the film. I know that it looks like it's there. And this is, I think, a good thing, but it wasn't. And there is also not, for example, there's not even a kiss in this film. But I think we really had as a goal, we should suggest it in a way. And I think we did in a kind of playful way, which is strange, like that we did it in a play. But I think this is how we... And maybe Eric can also say something of it, how he experienced it. Because
for me, it was hard. I cannot say that it was easy, but because I'm not an actor, you know, and we are all non-actors. But I think that Rosanne did a really good job with preparing us to hard scenes. We are playing games, for example, Trustful, to get some more trust. Actually, I know Claudia for half of my life, you know, and we are really close to each other, but so this is the reason why it was so hard for me to play the scene, like the, you know, and before the shooting, actually, we were talking, and one more time talking. And I think that this is the most important thing about it, that everything was controlled, you know. We were talking about every single aspect of the scene and of our behaving and stuff like this. So I think that it was prepared on the highest level.
Well, that's a compliment.
Floor, how did you get involved in the project?
Well, I was actually in the exam commission at the master of the film school in Amsterdam when Rosanne presented this project. And I was immediately blown away, and I thought she's on to something very, very special. And so, and then you approached me if I wanted to coach you for the first part of the film, because the first part of the film was her final film to finish school. So I coached you, or I don't know, I gave you some advice probably.
No, definitely.
And then when that was finished, I saw the material and I was just like, oh, we now have to move forward and do the whole film. And I was happy that she agreed.
Well, yeah, it was amazing for me.
Yeah, and we managed to finance actually the second part of the film. Because there are 5 parts, just to remind you, 5 parts. So the second part, we asked for development funding at the Netherlands Film Fund. And we said, well, we won't deliver a proper script. Can we just deliver part 2 in part of the development? So that the Film Fund could then decide with part 1 and part 2 if they would believe we could do the whole film. And they were also immediately very enthusiastic. So then they gave us this low budget scheme to make the whole film. And also, I mean, of course, there was a possibility to maybe ask for Polish funding support, but we really felt that the film should be as small as possible, with as less people involved as possible, to make sure that Rosanne and her team and with the actors, you know, could just work quietly without other people telling them I don't know what. So I think that was very important.
And I also want to add something, because Floor actually chose really strong and also female directors, and she gave me so much freedom on my first project. And I think this is totally unique as well, because of course you want kind of control if you like have a first-time director, and then they also say, well, we do not want to have a script, we just do something. Like, this is really like, of course, a bit challenging. But Floor gave like lots of freedom, and I think this is also why the film is now as it is shaped, because lots of people had the freedom to say something of it and to give an input. And yeah.
Eric, you were 15 when you started the film, and over 3 years. What was it like having Rosanne and Flora come into your life every, like 5 times, I guess, to make the film and sort of interrupt your teen years? Was that hard? Was that easy? Was that fun?
Actually, I was thinking about the kind of questions like this, and I think that it was really, really nice to have someone like Rosanne and Fleur in my life in such an important period in my life, you know. And I think that the thing, like who I am now, is because of you and your crew, actually, in a really big way. I think because now I'm really open, and I'm really I don't know what to say else. I think that all people which were working on the set, they were kind of. It was a family for me, you know, and they were amazing. Actually, it was. I don't know. I have a problem to express my feelings, but I think that it was super
totally
important.
well.
Yeah, and thank you for all.
Tremendous compliment.
Yeah.
Tremendous. It's wonderful. I don't want to talk anymore for a sec. I need a minute. Well, let's go out to you then with some questions. Over here.
By accident.
Can everyone hear the question? The question was about the casting, how Rosanne found Eric and his grandmother and the rest of the cast.
I just went actually by myself to Poland with a backpack, traveling to different families. And actually, Polish people are really totally open and very, how do you say, like welcoming, and especially Eric's family, actually. So when I met him, I directly felt that he was so intelligent, and Eric could actually not speak so well English, but he was talking all the time to me. And then I found, yeah, this is really nice. And then his family is also really intelligent and great, and they liked what I was doing, actually, which is maybe even for Poland quite loaded subject, I would say. And actually they really found this really important. So we have in Utrecht, we have the premiere, and then all the cast is there and the crew.
In the
and
Netherlands.
We are, yeah, in the Netherlands. And then this is really, yeah, we are really one team, actually, who did this. And, yeah.
Yes, over there. Oh, hold on. Sorry, can you repeat that again, please?
When I went to Poland, I went really to search for this, because I want to work with cinematic tools. And then I found this when I saw it in an animal rights activist film. I saw it, and then when I saw it for real, it was also totally different. As in, like, you just see normal people doing the work. Yeah, where on what are we sleeping? This is actually where the feathers are coming from. But yeah, and then I found this indeed really strong. And then I found Eric, and then Eric started to work actually also on one of these farms. So then it got all influence each other again, and yeah.
Yes, over here.
I'm wondering, you're a Dutch filmmaker. Why did you choose to film in Poland?
The question is, as a Dutch filmmaker, why did you choose to film in Poland?
I think we are talking about a universal theme or a problem which is in every society. But I think as a filmmaker, I really want to be free to film and shoot where I am. It's not like that if things are this close to your heart, that you can see better. And I think for me, as a filmmaker, it's very important to have a certain distance on something and to be an outsider in a way. I became there an insider. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this is how I work, and I like to work with cinematic tools, like I said. And these geese were a very important image for me, like, yeah, kind of metaphor indeed. And this is why I traveled there.
Yeah, and we don't have them in the Netherlands,
No.
the geese farms.
No.
Yes, over here.
I want to commend you on your film. It was really, really beautiful and moving. Very strong women's presence in the film. Now, I don't know, maybe it's because you're in Poland, maybe it's because it's a Catholic country, but at any time, would it not have maybe been that this young girl would have had an abortion? Did that ever come up in your mind as far as the script or the idea? Because she was so young.
Yeah, but like in the moment that we were shooting this part, actually the rights for women to do abortions in Poland got really turned even far more back. So it's really almost impossible to do an abortion in Poland. Then you have to move out to another country.
In the whole country of Poland, it is virtually impossible.
Yeah,
for a woman to have an
and it's of course because it is forbidden by government. This is really tough to then stand out as a woman or as a family to say we will do it in another way. I of course, yeah.
Yeah, I even think it's only allowed when actually the mother is in danger, but it's not allowed.
Yeah, but they also want to take this back.
Yeah, after a sexual assault, it's not allowed.
Yeah, that's tough.
Any other questions? Well, thank you all so much. Floor, thank you so much. Oh, sorry, we do?
Oh, one more
I'm
here.
so sorry. Give me 1 sec. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder that screenplay that you wrote it, where did you get this? Was this a personal, or was it something that?
No, this is not an autobiographic story, and I also think that it's important to see female makers also not that they always have to come with a personal connection to it. I feel that I'm connected to the story as a woman, but also as just a human being, and I think it's just an important story to be told. And I think it doesn't add on also not anything if I would have, because the story is important enough to also be told by someone who's not abused or is like, and I think, yeah, so this is my answer to it.
Remember the name Rose Pel. Remember the name of Eric Walney. You're going to see them, I'm sure, in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone from Light as a Feather.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming and sitting over. Like, this is also nice. Thanks.